Good morning, and thank you for joining us. We're going to just let a couple more minutes as people are still logging in. All right, it looks like things are a good chunk of people already here. So thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Edwin Tan, and I will be helping to facilitate the Commute Town Hall today. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Tiffany Rodriguez, who's with the Transportation Solutions Office out of the Associated Students. Tiffany?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We really put this event together because we know that you are going to be returning very soon, and you're starting to think about your commute back to campus. And I'm sure a lot of you have questions about your transportation service, whether that's parking or transit that you use. So we have our different partners that we invited here to hopefully answer some of your questions and concerns. So we're going to go and have them present, and then we will have the Q&A after that. So we'll go ahead and get started. Share my screen. And we're going to be starting off with Carmel from VTA.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for the introduction. Yes, I'd like to just begin with just confirming with everybody that we are all aware that light rail is suspended until further notice. However, due to the tragedy, which most of you are aware, which occurred almost a month ago, but we have put in place, we have a strategic plan to move our passengers forward so they can get to their destination, because we understand a lot of you have to go to work and uni and so forth, university. So basically what we've done is we've put in place lots of different trip plans via the buses. These may take a little bit more time, of course, not quite as seamless and as efficient and as quick as the light rail. However, we do have some buses out there. You may need to make a couple of connections, but we will be attending to your transportation needs via trip plans, and I can help you with any trip plans that you require later if you wish. Also, just reinforcing that masks are still required on the buses with VTA when you travel with buses or eventually light rail, and masks must always be worn until further notice. And of course, we are maintaining a 3 feet distance per passenger, and that allows us to carry more people on the buses. So we have on our we have 26 passengers that we can carry on our 60-foot bus now, which is really good. And we have 18 on the 40-foot, which is the normal carrier that transports people mainly. And that's great, which means we can now transport more people per vehicle. And if you have any other questions at all, please feel free to contact any of the staff here at VTA. We are more than happy to assist you with any concerns that you may have. A light rail, when it's going to be up and running. Of course, at this point, we don't have any notification of when, but we hope it's going to be soon as our operators and our personnel grieve and slowly come back to work. We anticipate that that's going to be up and running hopefully very soon. And like I said, we are more than happy to provide any trip plans to any of you to any place here in the Santa Clara Valley with VTA via our buses.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So next we are going to have Carrie from BART.
Hi, everyone. Apologies, it took me a second to get myself off mute as we've all become familiar with these kinds of things and the shelter in place. My name is Carrie Hillis. I am your BART Community and Government Relations Representative for the South Bay and Southern Alameda County. And the first thing I just wanted to say is welcome to BART. For anyone that doesn't know, and I still encounter tons of people that don't, BART now is actually knows the way to San Jose. We have 2 stations that were constructed by our wonderful partners at VTA that opened in almost exactly a year ago. These are Berryessa Station and Milpitas Station. And for anyone that hasn't seen the stations, Edwin, if you wouldn't mind switching the slide, these are some renderings of the way they look on the front. But I would definitely suggest, if you haven't made your way to Milpitas Station, check it out. It's one of the most beautiful stations in the entire BART system. It has stained glass windows. I compare it to a cathedral designed by Apple. It is a very pretty piece of public infrastructure. The map over on the right-hand side of the screen is what the BART map looks like now. And as you can see, we do have 2 stations in Santa Clara County. Very exciting. I grew up East San Jose, and I never thought that we'd ever have BART anywhere near my house, but there it is. If you see the dotted line after Berryessa Station, this is because there is going to be another extension you may have heard about that VTA is soon to be beginning construction on in the next year, which hopefully will commence service by the end of the decade. That will take us a lot closer to San Jose State. At this point, you still have to utilize one of our partners, such as any number of the folks on the line here, to get from Berryessa Station or Milpitas Station to San Jose State. But my friends at VTA have some very good services, including the rapid bus service, which can get you there in about 20 minutes from Berryessa Station. So I highly recommend you looking into those items. And I'll be telling you about some of the other things that we've been doing at BART to try to make things a little bit cleaner and more enjoyable. But first, sorry if I'm talking fast, but I want to be sure we have time for your questions. We just announced a plan to increase our service in June. If you've been a member or a writer of the BART system, you may know that we've had decreased it to 30-minute headways, which makes commuting on BART somewhat more difficult. But in June, we'll be returning to near pre-pandemic levels. We're going to be adding a significant amount of new weekday trips. This will allow us to get to 15-minute frequencies, which means trains will be coming much more often. Starting August 30th, BART will expand service hours and significantly increase service even additionally. And as part of that, between September 1st to 30th, we're actually giving a 50% off discount on all Clipper fares utilizing the BART system. And all of these slides will be provided, so you don't have to take notes or remember this. Many folks before the pandemic had noted issues of cleanliness and other items with BART. Well, as part of the shelter in place, BART actually never closed, and we put in place a 15-step welcome back plan, which had our crews conducting enhanced cleaning of our stations and trains. We use hospital-grade disinfectants to fog the trains and wipe down everything to ensure a clean experience. I actually took my 2 toddlers on the trains this weekend with masks, and masks are a mandate that we still are in compliance with. So we ask anyone riding the trains to wear masks. My 2 toddlers did wear their masks, and they highly enjoyed being able to ride Daddy's choo-choo train, as they call it, for the first time. For those concerned about the air quality on the trains, we are using MERV 14 filters. Anyone that needs them either is in the know for buying things for your house that will protect you from smoke particles from the wildfires, or also trapping the virus. This is the hospital grade filters that are actually more filtering than what you might get in your office. So the air quality will be purer on BART than it would be outside of anywhere from outside of a hospital. So in addition, we are doing some testing on UV sterilizers to even do an additional sterilization of the air. So we're really trying to be sure that people are safe and healthy riding BART. To that point, we also have contactless payment. We've moved to Clipper only. So to ride BART now, you will be needing to use your Clipper card. And we've also made it easier for people to pay for parking, though VTA is still responsible for parking at our 2 stations in Santa Clara County. Outside of that, you can easily pay for your parking using the BART app, which I highly recommend if you're a BART rider, or if you're trying to get to a Giants or A's game, that you still should consider downloading that app. It's perfect for helping you to plan your trip. Finally, in addition, safety issues have been things that folks have noted on BART. We're making significant reforms to our police force and how we're actually handling public safety on the system. including utilization of non-armed BART police ambassadors. This has allowed us to have much more presence throughout the system, and also to provide the opportunity for unarmed response. Since launching this program, riders have told us through surveys they can see significant increase in police and safety presence on our trains. In this photo, you can see one of our ambassadors answering questions. So to that point, I want to wrap this up, but of course we are still available to answer your questions when we get to that point. I just want to provide our partners the opportunity to also present as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity to meet with you, and we're really looking forward to welcome you back to BART once the shelter in place fully lifts and we all arrive back at work.
Thank you. Now we're going to have John from Santa Cruz Metro, and I hope you saw my email about your PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Ergo, Planning Director at Santa Cruz Metro. You can advance the slide. Santa Cruz Metro is still operating with a reduced fare period. We've been doing that for 6 months, or we will be doing it for 6 months. It started in March and it will continue through September 15th. So all fares are 50% off. You can go to the next slide. We've been steadily returning all of our service levels to pre-COVID levels. And with our recent service change that just launched in the beginning of this month, we're now pretty close to 100% of pre-COVID service on all routes, with the exception of Highway 17, which we did increase. It's now running basically on an hourly schedule, 7 days a week. And our UCSC service is still below pre-COVID because students haven't fully returned to campus. For Highway 17, as some have noted in a chat, we are not going to be serving San Jose State directly this summer, and probably not in the fall. For connecting service, perhaps VTA can chime in a little bit, but we note that there is VTA routes connecting from Diridon to San Jose State on the 500, 522, 22, 64A, 64B, 68, and 168. There's about 15 to 20 buses per hour from Diridon to San Jose State. The reason we're not doing that is, one, ridership is still 85% below pre-COVID levels on Highway 17. There just isn't a lot of ridership that's returned yet. And the other reason is, as many of the other operators in the region are likely experiencing, we just don't have enough bus operators. So we just cannot return the service yet, but we'll be evaluating that and hoping to do that potentially in the fall, but more likely in the winter. Next slide.
Oh, sorry, it's not open.
The next slide is just about our COVID protocol. So like VTA and the other operators, we continue to thoroughly clean all of our vehicles every day and night. We've relaxed all capacity restrictions on all our buses, but we're still asking customers to maintain 3 feet of distance. And the TSA's mask mandate remains in place until September 13th. So everyone on transit needs to wear a mask and in our transit stations. And that's it.
Great, thank you so much. And next we're going to have Carmen from ACE. Oops. Edwin, can you assist?
May want to just quickly turn off your share screen and then re-share, but make sure you click on the video optimize before you share.
Video optimize, got it. Sorry, everyone. Oops. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Try clicking on the black box.
It just is advancing. Do you want to share and do it on your end, or Carmen, are you able to just go through it?
Carmen, you're on mute.
Sorry, everyone. I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, Carmen, you're still on mute.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. I'm Carmen Setness from ACE. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator, And that first slide was a video just showing all the procedures that we go through here at ACE when it comes to disinfecting our trains and encouraging riders to social distance when they can. And just a little behind the scenes of all that goes into making sure that we're keeping you, our riders, safe. Some of the things that we're doing is disinfecting our trains nightly. That includes the floors, chairs, tables, giving these cars a thorough wash on the outside because we do want you guys to feel that you're safe and that things are being thoroughly cleaned. Also, with currently our schedule, we have suspended trains 7 and 10. And we're hoping to bring those back in September. But other than that, our other trains are still in service. Our policy change is that we still require a face covering over the mouth and nose while on board the train. Our ACE amenities, we did bring back our highly anticipated ACE Wi-Fi. This is better than ever. There is a portal that you can access through your laptop or your cellular device or your tablet, and you can now access your emails, work emails, or video. And we've had a lot of great feedback about that returning to our trains. So when you have an opportunity to ride our service, please check out the My Wi-Fi. We also brought in a new program called CAP. It's our community assistance program that offers 50% off tickets for those who qualify, and you can access applications via our website. Our employees are still required to wear masks in the lobbies, as well as our PSAs on board. We also have hand sanitizer available in our lobbies and on board. And that is all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Therese from Waze Carpool.
Hi, everyone. I'm Therese from Waze Carpool. You can go to the next one, Tiffany. Okay, for those that don't know, Waze Carpool is a way for us to connect drivers and riders going in the same direction to commute and carpool with each other. So it's pretty simple. You would get onto the download the Waze app, and you'll see a carpool tab where it'll have you put in the time that you're leaving and then also the route that you're taking. And you can always change this. It doesn't have to stick to the same time or route every single day. Of course, you might have a different schedule, but you select the days and the times that you'd like to give a ride if you're a driver or request for a ride as a rider. And then you'll see a match list of potential carpoolers that are heading in the same direction as you, and you get to choose who you want to ride with. And you'll see all the ride details, rider profile before you actually request or offer that ride, and you'll see the price on there. And then once the ride is confirmed, you'll see that highlighted, and you'll get an email notification and also a push notification once it's time to get ready to leave. So something to note here is that this is not on demand like some of the other ride hailing services. This is a carpool service, and so just make sure you give yourself at least 24 hours in advance to be able to schedule and look for rides. Go to the next slide. And right now we have a promotion for San Jose State employees where you will receive $4 off each ride. And this is for riders. For drivers, your incentive is that if you carpool and you pick up someone along the way, you will get reimbursed for some of the travel expenses. And again, you'll see all of that on the rider profile before you request or offer the ride. But to get started, visit that link that you see on the screen there, google.com/SJSU Carpool, and that is case sensitive to get started. And you want to make sure you also join using your work email domain. That is required for you to be able to receive the $4 off. So that's where you want to go to get started. And then just for COVID protocols, just make sure you wear a mask and sanitize your hands regularly. All of this is listed in our support center, and it's all aligned with the CDC guidelines, and that can change. So just make sure you follow local health guidelines. Make sure you also message your carpooler well in advance and over communicate. And then in the car, just make sure that windows are down, increase ventilation, but all of our health and safety protocols are listed within the app. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is going to be myself. I'm going to be presenting on transportation solutions. I'm going to start with just a brief overview with some of our services in case you guys aren't familiar with them, and then I'll go into some of our COVID related changes. So we do offer the Smart Pass Clipper card, which gives you access to VTA's local and rapid buses and light rail. It is $25 a semester for employees. I know some of you have questions about renewals and also about reactivating your Clipper cards and what the fall plans are. So I'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. We also have regional transit discounts for Highway 17 Express and Altamont Corridor Express. And then we also offer bike parking and lockers through our bike enclosures. We have carpool matching with 511 and Waze Carpool. And then we also work with our partners from Bay Wheels to offer discounted memberships for bike share and discounted memberships for car sharing through Zipcar. And then we also do trip planning. So if you ever need assistance to help find your best route to campus, we can definitely assist you with that. And then another service that is actually managed through Parking Services is Commuter Services Benefits. It allows you to use your pre-tax dollars to purchase your transit passes. So some of our COVID related changes, I strongly recommend you to visit our website. When you go to our website, you'll see this on the home page. The box highlighted in yellow has information on how you can purchase your transit passes or do renewals for your Smart Pass. We did create an online store. So you'll go to the online store, either pay for your renewal or your transit pass, and then it'll give you information about the pickup times. It's also listed here. We are doing pickups on Thursdays between 10 to 2 p.m. And then as far as the program changes, there's also going to be the TS COVID-19 response page. We will have resources on our program changes and services. We'll have resources to our partners and their COVID pages. And so you will also find the changes to the Smart Pass program listed there. Eric from Parking Services can confirm this, but it does look like we're going to have the Smart Pass available to all employees like it was pre-COVID. And then you will also see our business hours at the bottom of our home page. As you may know, the student union is closed. So we will continue to update our website as quickly as possible with all of our information. So it's a great resource. And then next, we are going to have Parking Services. So I'm going to stop sharing and Eric will go ahead and do his presentation.
Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? First, I'd like to welcome everyone back to the campus, and I hope everyone has fared very well or as well as possible through this COVID outbreak. I'll be as brief as I can. I wanted to talk with you about our parking website. One of the key reasons I wanted to do that is that when COVID first came on, we realized that we were in a very precarious situation, being that we bring two of the most dynamic groups that were being enacted by COVID. The very young group individuals of our campus who typically were asymptomatic and not knowing that they may be carrying the COVID virus, and some of our faculty and staff who, in particular, many of whom may have health disparities that contracting the virus could be very dangerous to them. So we decided to pivot at that time and really to enhance and automate as many of our services as we could to provide our services and make them more user-friendly from the safety and comfort of your office or your desk, your smartphone, or the safety of your own car. But I'm going to go on a little bit more on it. We actually used our parking website in particularly as the vehicle to make this happen. So you can do this from your own desk or smartphone. So the Parking Services website, of course, has been updated. It looks a lot different than it did prior to the shutdown. And if you go through and scroll through, I did send over the link to our website there. You'll see many of the options that we have available the one that I imagine that you are most concerned about is the one that allows for purchasing parking permits. And you can access that here by parking permits and how to buy parking permits. So it will take you over. You can look here. It gives all the information about what parking permits are available to you, and actually how to go about getting to parking permits and what requirements there are. Many of you actually have payroll deducted parking permits. And at one point in time last year, we suspended payroll deductions for a period up through July 1 or up through August. And you may be thinking that, well, I still have my permit canceled. In fact, many of those permits were reactivated, and you have been reassigned back to payroll deduction. So when you go to the online services and click on, you will go to the parking portal. And I pull this up in particular because as you go down and look at this for the employees, I encourage you to go to the bottom of the page where it says view your permits. It will show all of the permits that you've been registered over the last 2 years or last few years. And if you look, you should go and check the effective date and the expiration dates of the permits. The new parking permits for the 2021-2022 season have already been administered for people who are currently on payroll deduction. And it shows an effective date of 7/1/21 through 6/30/22. So before you go in and start trying to submit new payroll deduction information, check that information out and verify if you in fact need to do so. All right. One of the other critical aspects about our website, we provide a lot of information on things about what's going on campus. And as many of you may remember, we were in the process of building a parking garage prior to the COVID outbreak. That facility has gone online. It went online back at the beginning of May. It provides an additional 1,500 parking spaces to the campus. It will be put in service primarily as a mostly day use parking facility as we go into the spring semester, meaning that individuals who park there will be allowed to park there up until about 6 p.m., 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Throughout the day. We provide shuttle services, and they are available here on site here. This in particular picture here is the side of the garage that faces the ice rink and the Giants field baseball stadium. And the parking, the shuttle stop is located right here in this area, right on Alma. So with that bit of information there at hand, you now have the ability, if you need to use parking in that area, you have an additional resource. If you're concerned about parking being an issue for availability, again, we have almost tripled the size of available parking on the South Campus. And you can always verify whether or not if there's available parking there by going to the Park Mobile app. And the Park Mobile app allows you to get a virtual permit there if you want to purchase that online. You can also purchase your permits online as an employee, faculty, staff member, with your discounted rate if you were tied to a bargained rate through our website. If you go back into our parking portal here, it will actually pull up information about your available parking permit capabilities, and they have them listed at the discounted rate. So you no longer have to come to the parking office to come buy those daily permits or weekly permits or monthly permits at the discounted rate. You can do that from the safety of your phone or your desk once you get into the office. All you'll need to make certain of is that you actually have your parking, your driver's license, your vehicle license information to enter in, because your vehicle license is now your parking permit. I do apologize about this. It's a lot of information that we're trying to put out there, and I'm trying to make certain that I get as much of this information shared with you as we possibly can. So when you get ready to go out, just one of the key things is if you're concerned about getting a permit, take your smartphone out and go ahead and take a picture of your license plate, because it will be critical that you have your license plate data accurate as you enter it in, because the garages are now monitored by vehicles with the scanners, and they're looking for the license plate, and even one digit off will invalidate your parking permit. And it just makes for a lot of confusion to try to get resolved. So I always encourage people to go ahead and take that picture. Now, if you should happen to have any questions or anything, while you're looking on the website and you're just trying to figure out, hey, what do I do? Or and it's after hours or even during the day, I encourage you to reach out to us. We actually have our contact information here at the bottom of the website, which we do have a staff member on duty Monday through Friday from between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But one of the best ways to reach us is here at our email address, parking@sjsu.edu. And our team of parking office staff have been checking and monitoring stuff, and they typically get a turnaround on these things within about an hour or so. So if you have a question, please reach out to us. And you know, they're there to help, and we've been there throughout the pandemic. I can't wait to see you all. Looking forward to see many of the smiling faces that I remember prior to this difficult time that we've been through. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Eric and our other presenters. Now we'll move into the Q&A portion. Thank you to all those that have submitted questions ahead of time. We'll try to get through those first, and to the questions that pertain to the most amount of people on campus. If you have a question, feel free to submit it using the Q&A function on the bottom of your Zoom screen. And if I can invite all the presenters to turn on their cameras, and I'll start directing some questions to the appropriate individuals. So we'll start off with VTA. So Carmel, understandably, we understand the situation with the light rail at this point. But what is the situation with the buses at this point? Like, I know there's been a lot of concern raised with the Highway 17, the 17 Express to Diridon and the connectors to San Jose State. Will all those routes still be active, and the other bus routes that individuals may take?
Yes, absolutely, Edwin. We are trying our very best to have as many of those routes out there and as active as possible for our commuters to be able to take them. However, at this point in time, we are experiencing still, as I said, with the tragedy and people grieving, we do have at some point throughout the day, throughout the weeks, lack of personnel. So we don't have an abundance of extra services out there. We do try our very best to have as many extra services out there as we possibly can, as well as being able to pick up the slack for those buses that the services we don't have an operator, but we are doing our very best to have as many extra services, standby buses out there to take people to where they have to go in a timely manner, and we will continue to do so.
Thank you. And is the best? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we anticipate, with everybody grieving at the moment, we do anticipate by the end of this month, beginning of July, most of our operators should be back at work. So we feel that by the 1st of July, we should have as many operators as back on track. So there won't be the concern with cancelled routes, which is what we're experiencing at this very moment. But we are doing our best to still carry our passengers from one destination to another.
We appreciate that, and our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to your VTA family. And is the best way to keep updated on what the current situation just to check on VTA.org?
Yeah, definitely. VTA.org is as accurate as it possibly can be. The minute we get our information at hand, where the schedules of those particular buses are cancelled, we update it as quickly as we possibly can. Commuters can also call us. We're open from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. and we'll give them the information directly. We obviously have screens that we can get the information as quickly as possible, but it is what we can see is basically what our commuters can see, and it does list there very clearly in black and white that the buses are cancelled or it's late, 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. So it is very, how can I say, real-time information that is available to the commuters. But we are available from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. for any questions whatsoever. And there's also, Edwin, our downtown office that they can visit, which is open from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Thank you. For Carrie, you mentioned the new, there's no BART tickets, it's all doing the Clipper passes. So does that mean there are no BART tickets ever, and even if you're making a rare trip?
So if you already have a BART ticket in hand, those are still being accepted, but we are not selling BART tickets at our stations any longer, which I know is new to a lot of folks. So referring back to my notes here, so and I'll just read you this little blurb that didn't make it through my presentation. To encourage riders to utilize the Clipper mobile app. So one of the things you can do is actually incorporate your Clipper card with your smartphone. So it is actually possible in the case of doing a rare trip. You don't have to be sure that you always have it in hand, as long as you have your cell phone with you, as I know most people do. I have two sitting right here. So the acquisition fee of $3 to get the Clipper card is being waived through mid-October. So I know that that's one of the limiting factors to folks not wanting to get a Clipper card. You can get a Clipper card I know this at nearly every VT light rail station, which I know most of them are not open now. You can also get them at Berryessa station, at Milpitas station. So you can get your card. Also, if you're utilizing it through between the period for the month of September, it's going to be half off. And to ensure that you always have it with you, there's no fee currently to upload your Clipper card information to your smartphone. So I would encourage you, if you are inclined to make a random trip to go see an A's game or a Giants game using BART, be sure that that is uploaded onto your phone.
Thank you, Carrie. This next couple of questions revolve around the ACE train. This might be either Transportation Solutions or for Carmen. How can people purchase reduced rates for their ride passes? Do they have to come into campus? Can they do it online? Can it be done through payroll deduction?
I think I will be able to go ahead and do that one because we have them in our office. So yeah, we do offer the discounted passes while we are currently closed. Like I showed in my slides, you can go to our website. There is an online store. You can pay for them there. And then we are having pickups for transit passes on Thursdays between 10 to 2. And you can also enroll for the commuter benefits program if you are taking ACE, and we have applications on our website.
Thank you. So with coming back to campus, we know that there's going to be some hybrid schedules going on. So Eric, I've had a couple questions come through regarding parking costs, and what some individuals are saying they might be coming in 1 day a week. Are there reduced prices? Is it free? I would love for it to be free. Can you help me out? You're muted, Eric.
I can assure you it will not be free. We have been a live campus throughout the entirety of the pandemic. You do need to have a valid parking permit when you're on campus. It is an issue right now, and particularly for security purposes of the campus, being that we are at a very low population status, and we do want to validate whether or not people should be on campus or not. You can purchase your parking permits again online. If you don't have a valid parking permit, if you have a negotiated rate for reduction, you can make that purchase by going online in it through the One SJSU login. It will validate all of your current faculty or staff credentialing, and it will offer you that parking permit at your negotiated rate. So there has not, I was looking through some of the questions there also, there have not been any parking fee increases instituted. Everything currently is as it was prior to the pandemic.
Thank you. I'll continue on. Are new employees automatically enrolled into payroll deduction? And then also, if I do have payroll deduction, how do we cancel that?
Okay. Any faculty or staff member their information is transferred over to us through university personnel. However, payroll deduction is something that must be chosen by that faculty or staff member. You do have to submit a form. It is located on the website. It's something that you can do via DocuSign now. We tried to digitize as much of our office operations as we could, again, as a means of safety. And just send that information over. We can get back with you with your parking permit information, typically within about 1 business day. But yet, you will need to sign up to institute payroll deduction, as it is taking part of your pay, and we can't do that without your written authorization. And likewise, we can't stop it without your written authorization.
And so for either of those, the best is just go to the parking website, sjsu.edu/parking, and then you can find those forms on that website.
Correct.
And a couple of questions are regarding the beautiful new parking structure behind you.
Mhm.
Is this designated only for San Jose State staff and students, or will the iCenter also have access to the parking lot?
It is primarily designated for faculty, staff, and students, but we have already been partnering with the iCenter. We have a protocol set up with them by which they can purchase parking. We provide services, event parking for the San Jose Giants as well. And I was just looking on some of that data yesterday, and we've actually processed about 300 transactions for individuals who are utilizing the iCenter. They have quite a few events over there. I really didn't realize how busy that location was, but they're in the process of expansion, and they do all kinds of projects with students or young people, in particular with camps and with different junior league hockey programs and ice skating programs.
And then for those that decide to park there, is the SJSU shuttle active to bring the main campus? And if so, what's the capacity limits?
Okay, currently the shuttle is not active. We typically do not operate the shuttle during our summer months. It goes back into service for the campus at the beginning of the academic year, which will be over in August. We will be providing that service for anyone who needs to utilize it. It's again going to be located right here on the Alma side of the of the facility, facing the iCenter. We've already gotten permission from the city to utilize part of that street there to load and unload any of our passengers.
Thank you. Next question is for Tiffany. I know you talked a little bit about this, but with Clipper cards and smart cards, what's the process to reactivate it? Are they open to those outside of Santa Clara County?
Yes, so Eric, from what I know, we are planning to open it up to all employees like it was pre-COVID for the fall semester. So whether you live in Santa Clara County or outside of the county, but you are an employee, you will be eligible. Also, in terms of reactivation, if your card was deactivated because you didn't renew in the previous semester or because you didn't meet the eligibility requirements for spring, we can go ahead and process your reactivation. You can either send us an email or you can go into our office once you or pay online for the renewal, and that'll let us know that we need to reactivate your pass. You'll want to wait until July because that is when the fall term will start. So you'll pay your $25 and then we'll know to reactivate your pass.
Thank you. And what steps, is there any steps being taken to increase access to public transportation for students living in remote areas within the county?
Not currently at this time. We are looking, or right now we're kind of analyzing the situation of the current service that is being offered. And, hopefully we will be able to work with parking and also carpool to kind of be able to provide access to them. But right now we're still in the analyzing stages.
Thank you. Back to Eric. So a couple of people mentioned that they're on campus 2 days a week. Do they need to just buy individual permits every time? Or what's the best deal for them to consider?
If they're only here at limited time, I would encourage them to purchase a single day parking permit, especially if they're tied to a bargaining unit. They get discounted rated parking. So it would be more cost effective for them to do so. I would also encourage them to go to the website and verify that if they have a payroll deducted permit, to ensure that it is not already activated, because I would hate for you to be paying for parking when you're also being payroll deducted for parking.
Thank you. Back to Carmel. I know you guys are still figuring some of this out, but will the VTA increase frequency of the 500 bus from Berryessa station, the Berryessa BART station, to San Jose State in the fall? Or how often will the 500 bus depart?
Right. So at the moment, the frequency of the 500 is between 12 and 15 minutes to Berryessa BART. And I haven't heard anything more if there's going to be any changes like in the next couple of months. However, there may very well be come October when the schedule changes again and there's a new frequency chart and everything changes. It may be increasing, there may be more frequency, but that is the best it's going to get at the moment. I think it's between every 12 and 15 minutes heading over to Berryessa with the 500.
Thank you. Over to Santa Cruz Metro. We had a person mention that they bought a 10 ride pass for the Highway 17 bus pre-COVID. Can they still get a refund on this?
We're not refunding those, but at September 15th, they'll be full fare again, and that pass will still be eligible.
Thank you. Eric, there was a question that came in. What's the difference between a state and an employee permit?
Between a state
permit and an employee permit was submitted. Not sure.
I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to there. We are state employed. We are employed by the state. So
okay.
So all of our permits, you either have student permits, that may be what they're seeing. So there are some student permits and there are faculty staff permits. All
right. And then to follow up on a different type, a couple of people still have some of those scratcher permits.
Mm-hmm.
Are those still valid?
Well, yes, we do have protocols in place to help facilitate some accommodations for them for those. I would encourage them to email our office using the contact information there at the bottom of the page, and give them their information so they can look up their account and verify those permits that they have, and see how they can get those reassigned over into a virtual capable permit.
And then will GV permits still be available, and are they now virtual? I know that there are only 2 now instead of 3 in lot 1. Are there any other GV spaces for VIP guests?
They will be utilized in a virtual status. We have been doing that throughout the entirety of the spring. And yeah, the spaces were reduced at the request of the president's office. So we went ahead and made that change over for them. And yes, if they do need to utilize that, they can contact our office if they have a request or how they need to sign those individuals up. So we can just we can get the links set up to them so that they can submit those individuals in for GV permit status.
Thanks, Eric. Next question is for Carrie or Tiffany. Will there be any discount service or partnership between San Jose State and BART?
Tiffany, if you would mind if I can take that one. So BART doesn't, unlike VTA that does offer discounted fares, BART does not offer discounted fares. That said, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, during the month of September, we will be offering a 50% discount on our typical fare. In addition to that, there is a program that BART does participate in, VTA at this time does not, called Clipper Start. This is for folks that meet certain income requirements, specifically having income, I believe that's within 200% of the federal poverty line, and are between 19 to 64 years of age. For many Bay Area transit agencies, you can get a 20% discount. BART is one of those agencies. For a select few agencies like San Francisco Muni and for Caltrain, you can get a 50% discount. So if you meet those income requirements, I would highly recommend that you check out clipperstartcard.com. It provides you the details of exactly what full eligibility is, and you can check in to see on there. For those that don't meet those requirements, there is a discount for the month of September. There's a complicated reason for why BART doesn't offer additional discounts having to do with how we do fares based on distance, where VTA calculates it differently. So generally we don't provide them, but if you meet certain income qualifications, you can get one. Thank you.
And can the SJSU purchase Clipper card work on BART?
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that if you already have a San Jose State Clipper card, you don't need another Clipper card to use BART. You can use the one that you have.
Thank you. Back to Eric, you mentioned some of the bargaining units have discounted rates. How do we check if there's a discounted daily or hourly permit?
Well, typically, if you would have that information either through the notification of whatever bargaining unit you're associated with or affiliated with, or you could always contact our parking office and they could share that information with you.
Thank you. And back to Eric, can you park in any campus garage with an employee e-permit?
Yes, you can. We have on the main campus, we actually have designated areas and all of the parking garages for employee parking that limit access just specifically for our faculty and staff of the university. Within the South Campus garage, it will be listed more as a general parking area facility. It's all going to be general parking, primarily because it is going to be used mostly by the students, similar in fashion to the park and ride lot down on 7th.
Thank you. To Tiffany, there's been a couple of questions about if there's any shuttle service to maybe Diridon or to close campus proximity. Does that exist? And if so, how far does it go?
There is no shuttle service to Diridon. The only options from Diridon to campus are the buses from VTA, or they can also utilize the bike share and they get a discount on annual memberships. Thank you.
There was a question that was posed about the 17 going to SJSU, and if you missed that, the 17 only goes up to Diridon and you can transfer to the VTA. There's about 6 different bus lines, it looked like, that were connecting from Diridon to San Jose State. There's a question, if we have the SJSU Clipper card, are we allowed 2 free single day passes each month?
You are still allowed those 2 free parking passes within our campus, yes.
And then probably this is going back to Tiffany. There's a couple questions about specific routes to get from maybe from San Francisco or Gilroy. Is your office the best way to plan some of those trips out?
Yeah, they can always email us, transportation@sjsu.edu. It's also listed on our website, and we can definitely assist them further with specific trip plans.
Thank you. And how much is the bike share annual fee for employees?
I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's around 130, but I can, if they want to contact me, I can get back to them.
So it seems like I'm going to redrop in the links to both the parking website and the transportation solutions website, because there's plenty of information there. And as Tiffany mentioned, they do link out to all the different transit providers that you see up here today. Let's see, for those living outside of San Jose, what are the discounted commuting options?
Again, they can visit our website. We do list all of the discounts that are available on there. And then as Carrie mentioned, the regional transit discounts like BART, Caltrain, there's the Clipper Start program. They can check if they're eligible.
Thanks. Eric, are there any charging stations, electric charging stations in the garages?
Yes, there are, I think, currently 8 in the north parking garage. And we are in the process of putting 50 charging units, bringing them online here within the next couple of weeks down at the Park and Ride facility on 7th.
And will there be a need for, I'm assuming that there'll be a need permit to utilize those spaces?
You will need to have a valid SJSU parking permit, and they are now at a charged rate. That information is posted there at all of the charging stations. And if you don't currently have a parking permit, we do have information about Park Mobile listed or posted there at each of the areas that will help you facilitate purchasing a parking permit via your cell phone.
And how far in advance can you purchase a daily permit?
You can purchase those with a fair degree of, I guess, time frame there, because we actually showed the calendar on our website posting which date you want that daily permit to be posted to.
Okay, I know the VTA rep had to jump off, but maybe Tiffany, you might know the answer to this. Will the VTA honor the 17 Express Pass?
It does for the 31-day pass, but the 15 ride, it does not.
All right. Well, I want to just take this moment to thank everyone for joining us. I want to turn it over to Tiffany to see if she has any last comments before we go off.
Hi guys, I'm sorry about that. We just lost some power here in the office, so we just got it back. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
So yeah, no, I believe all of the questions, like Edwin mentioned, we'll be able to address them, and we'll be creating content to add to the SJSU Adapt Plan page. There's also several resources on our website, on parking and transportation's website. And then, you can always feel free to contact me, and we'll be also working with all of our partners that came today to get additional information for you guys.
And with that, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. If you do have questions, again, feel free to reach out to Tiffany or Eric. Their websites are posted on the chat link, and they'd be happy to connect you with all the proper resources that you might need to make a successful commute back to San Jose State. So thank you, everyone. Continue to stay safe, continue to stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you back on campus. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.